If you're sick of coming up with the same old melodies in the same old boring way, today I'm going to show you 5 out-of-the-box melody writing hacks that I've discovered over my 14 years of music production experience. Now, to use these hacks, you do need to know the basics of writing a melody, which is why I put together this free melody writing cheat sheet that will help you step by step write great melodies every time. And there's even some great MIDI you can write melodies along to included. So grab that for free down below, and with that, let's hop in with hack 1. Whistle a melody. This seems super simple, but you don't have to be a fantastic whistler, singer, or anything to do this. In fact, you can be a pretty terrible one and still get by. The reason I included this number 1 is because it's really effective at actually just getting a great melody out of your head into the door. So I'm just going to go ahead here with my metronome, and I'm just going to hit record with my track armed with over on the right here in Ableton, hit the record, or I could go function F9 on my Mac. That was just something that came to my mind there, right? Let me just grab a quick kick drum to layer this in with. Awesome. Let's kind of get that going there. Just tidy up this end there, turn down the kick a little bit. Now, there's a little bit of timing offset with my DAW latency, so I'm just going to tighten up the timing here. Bring it back a little bit. This is a really great hack if you're recording anything. You can just bring back the time. Okay, I'm going to consolidate this new clip. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use Ableton's audio to MIDI feature. So I'm going to option, hold, and click and drag onto my lead channel here. And this little window will come up. I'm going to select melody because I just want one note playing at a time. Let's go ahead and do that there. Now, I've got a lead sound already loaded up here. What we're going to do is see how well the audio was converted. Let's listen. Okay, so already there's a note at the beginning that wasn't good. There's a few things we'll need to fix. For example, there's some double notes where there isn't, and there's a few notes that have gone off pitch, but these are really easy things to fix, right? A bit of quantizing problems. This one, for example, is a bit, there's 2 notes there. This one here can go just 1 note again. Right, so that's pretty much bang on there, right? Now we can obviously choose a certain sound. I've loaded up one here already, but you can swap that out for any instrument that works well for whatever you're feeling like. So we could go to our Ableton instruments library here. I could pick maybe like a nice string sound. Or maybe a lead sound. Maybe something pluckier is cool. And then one thing you can do here is if you're not great with working in certain keys, you can enable a scale device like the minor pentatonic one here. Choose the root note of your scale, and as long as it's in that particular type of scale, like minor or major, it'll just align the notes to the right key for you, but I don't need to use it in this case. So number 2 here is super weird, and basically it's to smash out a random set of rhythms on your keyboard using any kind of combination of notes. And then we're going to use a few tools to move them into key and create a melody kind of generatively. So I'm literally going to go ahead here and just record some MIDI. I'm actually just going to use the Capture MIDI device. So let's just go ahead and press play here. I'm just going to use my MIDI keyboard to do this. You can do this the same using an external one or just your computer keyboard as well. Okay, so that was completely random. It sounds terrible, but we're just going to go ahead and hear and listen to what we got. We can remove maybe some of the moments where there's multiple notes going on at the same time, just to make it a bit easier. Okay, that's a bit more clear. So what we can do here, again, is to grab, like I mentioned in the last tip, the scale device in Ableton, which is basically a device that just locks any MIDI notes to a certain key. Now, I've gone in here and selected the minor pentatonic, which is this preset here, which is a great preset, by the way, if you're wanting those minor scales, but using the notes that sound good together. And if I enable this, what I'm going to do is kind of pick a note that I want to be the kind of bass line. So I'm going to go with, let's just do D for some reason. I just feel like D is good. And then let's just listen to what this does. And then we could obviously go in here and make some adjustments to some of the notes to get them sounding the way we want them to. And I want to kind of, with D in mind, I want to kind of make that the root note. So I'm going to add a few more Ds in there. I'm going to tidy up some of these rhythms. Yep. Let's tidy this up with some quantization. Maybe I'll move these down here. Now, obviously, we could go to a different scale altogether, maybe just a normal minor. You need to reset this to D. And use whatever you want. I could go major. Different vibe there altogether, right? And you can do this, record a few different melodies. This one's okay. I could be a bit better, but you know, this is a really fun way to create some awesome, very interesting melodies that you wouldn't have otherwise come up with. So number 3 here is to actually use the AI melody generator from dopeloop.ai. Basically the first one I Googled that came up, and AI melodies can be good or bad. I think either way, you can find some gems within the kind of trash, and then you could also tweak them to make them even better. So I'm just going to hit generate here and see what we come up with. It's okay. Let's hit it again. Yeah, that's all right. Let's hit it again. This one's cool. Let's download the MIDI for it. I'm going to call this bell MIDI. We're just going to drag it into our DAW. And don't import the tempo. We've already got it at 120 BPM anyway. Just got a sound loaded up here. Let's see how it sounds with this particular preset loaded up. Okay, so it's pretty repetitive. I think I could make a few changes to it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's loop that up. And maybe we're going to do a little bit of a different call and response here. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. That's pretty good, right? We could even start to like layer that up. We'll just quickly choose a different like lead or something. There you go. And then obviously with an AI melody, you can get the MIDI, pitch it up, go different keys. See what you come up with. One thing with these generators is as well, you can go in, change the length of the phrase in beats, I think it is there. You can change the root note, and you can change the scale, which there's tons of different ones here. And so you can kind of just tweak it even before you export it to your taste as well, which is really, really cool. I don't even know what the Hirajoshi scale is. These are kind of all exotic to me, but give it a go and see what you come up with. It's pretty cool. So number 4 is a bit unorthodox as well. Basically, the idea here is you grab like a song starter or a chord progression sample from a sample pack. I'm just going to go in my splice samples here and find like a song starter sample like this one. Right, lots of harmonic content. What we're going to do is we're going to yet again use the audio to MIDI converter. So I'm going to drag this onto the sample channel here just so we have it. I'm going to extend out the loop. Now, I'm going to set this to complex mode just so it aligns to our tempo. It's at 125, so it's a bit faster. We're at 120. Now that we've got this, I'm just going to, again, option click and drag it down to our instrument. Going to make sure we've got an actual sound loaded up first. So let's just load something in. Let's grab that. And then, we're just going to option click and drag it onto the instrument. Use the melody mode. And we're just going to kind of see, even if it does it kind of badly, what kind of melody we get out of it. Because it's going to be kind of random, right? Because it's taking chordal information, which normally has multiple notes occurring at the same time. And it's kind of picking out from within that information, hey, what's the most prominent note here? And that could change depending on the texture of the sound, right? So it's a bit random. Let's see what result we get. Okay, so like most of this sounds terrible, but this last part kind of sounds cool, right? Even if we remove these bottom notes and we kind of start to, you know, make this our own. And then just give it a final quantize. And we can start to like add a chord progression underneath, right? Even like a little flare here. That's sounding dope to me, right? That's a melody right there. And yeah, okay, most of it was crap, but you really are finding the gems here and transforming them into something amazing. Like, don't just be uninspired by the first thing that you kind of get out, because you do have to do a bit of work, and the work is always worth it because you get something you would never have gotten otherwise. And my last but not least favorite one here is stacking arpeggios. So this is a really, really cool technique because you're basically letting the arps write the melody for you. So all you have to do here is basically write a chord. I like to write, you know, say like a minor 7th or a minor 9th, right? So we're going to put in that 9th at the top here. We're going to select it all and make it legato. So now it's holding out the whole time. Right, so we've got a long sustained chord. Now you could add multiple chords if you prefer. For the purposes of this example, I'm just gonna use one. Then I've taken Ableton's arpeggio device. I've actually used a couple presets and a couple original patches here too. And I've layered 1, 2, 3. First is just this Bach 16th, which is this preset here. It just sounds like this when it applies to the MIDI. Sounds very like Baroque and kind of classical, right? Very cool, but obviously it's not quite what we want for our melody. I want something a bit more with a bit more flavor and a bit more movement, right? This is a good baseline. Now, if I add on the second one, you'll see what I've done here is slightly different. I've dialed in a faster rate because I'll be able to hear a faster rate applying on a slower rate first arpeggio, right? If I had a slower rate on my second arpeggio, the notes wouldn't be held down long enough for me to hear the effect, right? So you need to do a faster rate type thing. Open up the gate, and all we're doing here with a couple of extra steps is these octave type jumps. Let's listen to it. Cool, now we're getting somewhere really dope, right? And then lastly, this third one is this ubiquitous preset that I've adjusted a little bit. I made it faster and kind of added some steps and just kind of seen where it went, right? And you'll notice this starts to transform it completely. Could slow down the rate a little bit. Now, obviously, I could go through any of these and kind of tweak it to make it sound different. So I could make this Bach 16th faster to 1/12. Play with the gate there, play with the gates of other ones. And you can hear the melodies are just kind of writing themselves at this point. Again, you could move around the chords. So stacking arpeggios is a great way to get these interesting melodic textures. I've used it quite a few times on some of my original tracks, and the results have always just been really unexpected, but some of the best part of that track, right? And so I hope these 5 weird melody writing tips have inspired you to do something a little bit different out of the ordinary instead of just drawing in notes and hoping for the best. If you did enjoy this type of content, let me know and suggest some other topics. I'd love to hear from you guys what you want to see. If you did like it, give it a like to tell the algorithm, subscribe if you want more like this, and remember to grab the melody cheat sheet. That's a really helpful resource just to be able to write those killer melodies from the ground up. And guys, until next time, happy producing.